I want to start by showing you how I made a static map using Google Earth. I do a lot of static mapping in Google Earth simply because Google Earth does not integrate directly into Google Sites. So here's my map of Mainz, Germany. And I was noting above here that I was emphasizing the cultural geography of Mainz, and especially Kevin Lynch's imageability. We're looking at paths, edges, landmarks, districts, and nodes. I simply use Google Earth and PowerPoint to make this map. This map to me shows the distinction as when I come to visit Mainz between Old Town and New Town, sort of the divide. Also, the train acts as a edge between the flats below towards the Rhine, and the Rhine acts as an edge as well, and the hills towards the university and beyond. Also, the shopping path that sort of leads from the train station down to the Market Plaza. The landmarks, especially of Market Plaza, the train station, and the university. This is where I began my mapping. Over here, I created a folder and I have 3 icons in it. I have the train station, I got the Central Plaza, and you can see down here I have the University of Mainz. So to get that for you, let's turn mine off, and we will start by doing a search at the top for Mainz, which I've already done so that we're placed here. It shows up like that. And then I click this little downward folder button to get a new folder called Mainz, right? See, there's mine, and then this is the new one. So it has Mainz in it to begin with. All right, so I'm going to turn that one off. And now I'm going to do some searches for those 3 icons. My next search will be for the Mainz train station. So we do a quick search for that. It takes me there. I can move that folder again. I can just take that single item and move it up into our folder. And I'm going to delete this one because I don't need it. And now my last search will be for the marketplace. Type in the marketplace, do a quick search. Don't need to let it fly there. Move the folder down, grab the item, put it up in the folder. I'm going to put it in second, delete the other folder. And this is actually what I made, was these 3 here. To be able to do that, we need to get that snapshot view that I made. So to do that, we have to zoom in. And I started by looking at the bridge and zooming in and then trying to orient myself a little bit. And I'm not going to get this perfect the first time. Note how Google kind of moves you around as it zooms. I hope I'm not getting anybody sick. And I can zoom in, I can zoom down, and I can tilt it, okay? And I can also rotate the view by moving the north arrow. All right, so first off, make sure that the terrain is turned on, or it'll look like this. These are Google buildings that were drawn in, but if we add terrain, you can get the full effect, which is most likely LiDAR, and also that the 3D buildings is turned on, or everything will be flat. All right, so that's the first 2 things that I did. The next one that I did is that I went under Tools and went to Options. And this is kind of the key. The first one I did is I used this photorealistic atmosphere rendering. And if I hit apply, and let's kind of move this out of the way, and you can see a little bit of the plaza over here, and kind of watch the church and the plaza there. Hit apply. So there it comes, and it gives it more of a realistic sort of look. So the next thing that I did was to play with the elevation exaggeration. The default when you come in usually set at 1. You'll need to play around with the settings a little to see what looks best for Mainz. I believe that I had used 1.3. I started adding my places. So once I get the view set here, I need to go to my folder and set the snapshot view. So this is approximately where I was at. So watch, I'll click on that and it'll zoom us to the snapshot view that I had. All right. Now, to get those place markers the way that they don't come out that way. They'll be really small and not very apparent. So let's see how I did this. So let's take a look at the first one. First one is the train station. All right. So I literally searched for the train station and saved that marker. And then to change it to make it look how I got it there, I went under the properties. I went under the style and colors first. And then up at the top, notice I deleted any notes up here so that there's no label in Google Earth. And then I literally changed the icon to look like the Google Map icon. Okay. But I also had to increase the altitude. So I changed it from clamp to ground to relative to ground. And then I started moving it up so I could see it a little bit better. You see how that works? All right, so you can kind of look at those. So I changed the altitude, I changed the color, and I also changed the size. The initial size was 1, and you can see it's not seen. Since we're doing an orthographic view, I have to kind of pay attention to how each of the sizes differ from the one far away to the one up close. All right, so each one of these has their own style. I cleared out the name. I used the same symbol. I scaled it to a certain size. This was 3. And then I went back and I set the altitude for each one of the 3. When I was done with that, I went over here to view and I turned off all of the items and I took a screenshot of it. So over in PowerPoint, you can see here's the map that I made. And let's go ahead and try to make one together really quickly here. First thing I do, bring up a slide, delete everything that's in the slide, and add my screenshot. Get rid of the design. We're going to do everything ourselves. First thing I do is I'll enter some text. So I can enter the Market Plaza. Let's change it. I always go bold and shadows because the shadow will help the text stand out a little bit better. And then it's simple to just use the same text. Note that the cartographic convention for points is always up and to the right. So I can just kind of set them kind of a little bit up and to the right. We can mess with the location a little bit later. And you type in your text. And then I want to get some distinction between the text points and the areas and the other sort of lines as well. So to actually just use the same text instead of inserting one, copy and paste it. And I'm going to add one for Old Town. To get that distinction, I'm going to change, instead of using the sans serif font of the Marketplace, Train, and University, where there's no extra frilly things, I'm going to use a serif font. And I know I like Georgia a lot. Make it a little bit bigger. And then I want it to cover the area. I want to spread it out a little bit more. So I'm going to space it to a very loose kind of look. And maybe even get it a little bit bigger. All right. And then since I've got that one, I want to make the other one look the same. So let's do Newtown. All right. And now let's insert a shape. And we can just insert a line. While the line is still highlighted, I can set the outline color and outline weight. And what I did with the train, I'm going to again just duplicate lines. I had to go back and look at the map a little bit and try to approximate where the train was at. And I just did a series of lines and copied and pasted them. And I wanted to kind of try to save the buildings look. So I kind of made little lines that went around the buildings, especially the church here. I didn't want to interrupt the two towers of the church. And if I need to see it a little bit better, kind of zoom in and you can really get fine tune on them. So you can kind of just see how I did this. I'm doing it quick just for the video. So I take this one and I want it to look more like a train tracks. So I'm going to go back to the line and go to dashes and pick a dash line and give it a different color too, so it stands out different from that um, edge of the new town, old town edge. And so you can see just over time that I can make the different lines. I can do that other one too, the little walking one, by using the little squiggly. And all I did, and I didn't go in and figure out exactly where it was, but I know it runs roughly the white line on the ground that you walk in the shopping district, kind of goes from the marketplace, kind of rambles up over to the train tracks. So I just followed that and made it white and made it a little thicker, just like that. All right. And then I added some text. Note as well that the Rhine River, rivers are always italics. So take your river. You want it to kind of approximate where and the shape and the direction of it as well. So I make it italics and I turned it to match the Rhine. The last thing I did was I used the snippet tool and I put PowerPoint in full slideshow view, took the snippet tool, moved it to a full screen snip, put the slideshow up, and I was just using the Alt and Tab to move between apps.